everybody, and welcome to the six-figure website basics video. So I made this video after doing a post in our group asking who wanted website feedback. And I found that there was a lot of business owners that are really confused about what to put on their website and what will get them more clients and sales, what to do and what not to do. And I also found that by going onto a lot of business owners' websites, I saw a lot of people making really bad mistakes that honestly are costing them thousands of dollars, because these mistakes, when they, do all that effort to get leads and get people to their website, these mistakes will cause people to actually just click off and think, too hard or not for me, and just click off. And then that's just a lost lead. And the other thing I saw by going onto lots of people's websites is a lot of people are not taking advantage of principles to get easy clients and sales. So I thought today I would just cover, this general topic of what not to do that could cost you lots and lots of leads and sales, and what are the perfect principles to do to increase conversions. So, do you feel like your website's not reaching enough people? Are you struggling to monetize your website? Do you believe that you've waited long enough to get results from your business? Hi, I'm Jackie, and I'm so glad you're here, because if you said yes to any of those questions, this video is going to be perfect for you. So, in case you don't know me, I just wanted to introduce myself really quickly and say how I started business and why I'm even talking to you guys today. So, I started business at 19, and it's been an absolute roller coaster since then. And of course, just fast track to now. Now I teach marketing and design visual attraction principles to help clients get more leads and sales. But when I started in business, what I first started off doing was I started with websites. So pretty much this topic today, it's my absolute bread and butter. It's where I began, and it's the first thing I nailed in business. And so when I started in websites, what I did is I worked with multiple six-figure businesses, multiple million-dollar businesses on their strategy and on their website to create websites that would attract them even more clients and sales. And so today, what I'm going to talk about is I'm going to share with you what these multiple six-figure businesses are doing and what these million-dollar businesses are doing on their website, so that you can do it too, to get more clients and more sales. So by doing this and by working on websites, the first biggest thing that I learned is that the internet, it's speeding up, and it's going so fast with social media, Google, everything's moving really fast. And because of this, people are making, your clients, your leads are making decisions really quickly, and they're judging you really quickly. So the strategy that I teach, it's a little bit different. So what we do is we match the rate that clients make decisions by making the web page faster and clearer. So, for example, if someone was to go on Google and search for a business, then they would have to go scroll down, click on a listing, go to the home page, scroll through heaps and heaps of text and so much, and then they're thinking, oh, but I want to learn more about this business. So then they go to the about page, and then there's thousands and thousands of words that they have to read through, and then they're not even sure if it has this business has the service they want for them. So they go on the services page and have to make sure it's got the right service for them by going through all of the services, and then going to the contact page so that they can actually contact you to work with you. And like just going through heaps and heaps of information and heaps of text. So that's how websites used to be. But the problem is that's a lot of work for customers today. And because the internet's moving so fast, customers, if you've got heaps and heaps of information on your website and it's not clear and it's not matched with the rate that people are making decisions really quickly, the problem is customers are clicking away and going away. So what you need to do is you need to get them really quickly and really clearly from where they are to where they want to be on your website. And that's what we'll be talking about today as the 6-figure website basics, to get them from where they are to where they want to be really, really quickly. So today we're talking about the 5 biggest mistakes that are costing you leads, the 3 perfect principles of what to do just to increase conversions, and then summarizing it with a 2-step action plan. So let's begin with the 5 biggest mistakes. So the first mistake 1, is a text dump. And remember before how we're talking about how the internet's speeding up and people are really, really feeling really, really scattered at the moment because of that. And have you heard a lot of people saying they're really, really busy and they don't have time for things? Have you heard your clients say that? People these days, they're not reading websites that are a huge text dump. They're just not reading it. They might be skimming it, or they might just click off the website. If your website looks like the picture on the left, they'll probably not even read it, because people these days are scattered and busy, and they will see that website and think too hard and either skim it and not even read it, or click away and maybe say they'll come back to it later, but they never will. What people will read is the image on the right, which is short, quick sentences and little paragraphs that are easy to read and compelling. And the thing is, people will read that because it gets them from where they are to where they want to be really, really easily. So in websites today, the solution is just look at your website and just cut all text in half. And that's just a general principle. Cut all text in half and people are more likely to read it. So mistake 2 is no space. So remember how we said people these days are feeling really busy, time poor, and scattered? Because of this, because people are feeling like that, they're not compelled to read. See where it says no? People that are feeling busy, time poor, and scattered will not read text that looks like that under the no. But they will read text that looks like under the yes. And this is because if you're busy, scattered, or time poor, you're more inclined to read the one that's easier, the one that's less effort. Like a stop sign, you can't help but read a stop sign. So if your audience, does say they're busy or does say they're time poor or scattered, you need to ensure that it's easy for them to read and it's not overwhelming. And the way to do this is to add borders or padding around every piece of content that you put out. So see how on the right, it's almost got this invisible border around the text, whereas on the left, it doesn't. That invisible border, it stops people from being overwhelmed and it makes it a lot clearer what you're trying to say and a lot easier and more comforting to read. So mistake 3 is full width text. So once again, people, because they're feeling busy, time poor, and scattered, if your text on your website goes from right at the left side of the screen all the way over to the right side of the screen, people will not read that. And that is overwhelming and that is too hard to read. And the reason it's too hard to read is because it's actually hard for your eye to follow a sentence that is that long without losing it. it's really hard to read. So that means that if someone's already busy or if someone's already scattered, if the sentence is difficult for them to read because it goes right from the left side of the screen all the way to the right side of the screen, they will not read it and they will click away off your website. So the solution to this is, instead of having your content on your website going from the left of the screen all the way to the right, it's to only use a certain amount of the screen. So what I mean by this is, a laptop screen, for example, is about 1,200 pixels in width. And what I recommend is only using the middle 960 pixels. And then the rest is just space on the side. And this makes it a lot easier for people to read your content. So, for example, look at the image on the left, bottom left. See how the text goes all the way from one side of the screen to the other side? Whereas the image on the right, do you see how the text, it doesn't ignore the menu? See how, I'll just get my mouse. See how the Let's Connect starts here? And then the section ends there? The whole website of text under the menu, it wouldn't go past that. So from here to here is about 960 pixels, whereas the whole screen is 1,200 pixels. And just that little change of not using the whole screen, it's not just modern, but it's the reason it's something you should do is because people will read it if you do this, rather than clicking off your website. So mistake 4 is random. Just having things everywhere, like the bottom image on the left. Just having, an image up the left, a text on the right, a button here, some text here. See how, like, this image, we've got image here, we've got some things up here. What's even happening up the top here? Start button, I don't even know what that start button does. Do you see, if someone's feeling time poor, scattered, or overwhelmed, if that's how your client feels, this looks overwhelming. This looks, time consuming, because you actually have to go in and work out, okay, what is she even talking about? Like, what's being cut off over here? This is an overwhelming, difficult to read layout, and the reason it's difficult is because it's random. So the solution to this is the simple solution is having a grid that alternates, because this is really easy to follow for someone who's time poor or scattered. It's really easy for them to understand. So, an image on the left, text on the right. And you know what they'll expect next? Oh, yep, flipped. So text on the left, image on the right. Do you see how these two have two different feelings? Can you see how this is overwhelming? Whereas this one is, this is really easy to follow and really easy to read. People will read the one on the right as long as it's appropriate, but they will not read the one on the left. People will not follow and they will click off random websites, but websites with grids, they will read. And mistake 5. So text that is hard to read. And once again, if people are busy, scattered, time poor, overwhelmed, they will see something like this on the left and think, too hard, click away. Or this just looks difficult, and someone who's feeling overwhelmed already does not want to be presented with images that look like this. They do not want to see websites that look like this, because that to them is not the solution to their problem. Whereas something that's clean and simple like this looks like the solution to their problem and looks like they're something they would want to interact with. So if your text is hard to read, people will not read it. And the way to fix this is put a transparent color over the image. So see how behind this text, there's an image, but they've got like a color over it, And because they've got a color over it, it makes the text on top really easy to read. If you've got content like this, that's a solution to making it easy to read and to getting more leads and clients. So those were the 5 biggest mistakes that people are making on their website constantly. And the problem is, if your client feels busy, scattered, overwhelmed, or just not great, if they see these mistakes, they're less inclined to actually read it, and they'll most likely click off your website, think too hard, and go to someone else. Okay, so we've covered what not to do that's costing you leads if you're doing those. Now I want to talk about what you should be doing. What can you do on your website? You've got all of this amazing real estate, all of this, you're bringing leads to it. What can you do just to get, more conversions? What can you do today to get more conversions from your website? So principle 1, so the first perfect principle that you can do on your website to get more conversions is, remember how I keep saying, if your audience is busy, scattered, or time poor, or overwhelmed, you need to respect this, and you need to make it as easy as possible for them to come to your website, understand what you do, so that they can book in with you. So the way to do this, the first perfect principle is, remember how I showed you this image before of the alternating grid? What you should do in that alternating grid is do sections. So, the first section, and just make it logical. So have a title about, and then, 70 words underneath what your service is and how you can help them. Then below, who I am, 70 words about who you are and why you're qualified. Then the next section, our services, and a short little paragraph, 70 words about how you can help fix their problem. So when layouts are that simple and that easy to follow, it gets people from where they are, gets them all the information they need to know whether they should work with you, to contacting you. So the second perfect principle is, if you want more people to contact you from your website, you need to make it really, really easy for them to contact you. So, for example, if you want people, if you're a location-based business, it's really important that you've got your address on that web page. Really top and center, easy to see, so people know where you are, because if people come and visit you, maybe in your clinic, they need to know whether they can actually, whether that's feasible. The other thing too is, if you want people to call you, the next perfect principle is to have your number in the menu, because it makes it really easy for people. They come to your website, no matter what page they're on, they can easily click this button to contact you. And then that is a perfect principle to get more people reaching out. And perfect principle 3, so above the fold. Have you heard that people, they'll read the content that's above the fold, but not necessarily below the fold? Have you heard of that before? So what this means is, if you printed out a page on your website, and so it's this, a long sheet of paper of the page of your website, and then fold that page in half, the majority of people would read the top half and not even get to the bottom half. So what this means is, you need to have the most important information at the top of your website, because the majority of people will read that information, and less people will read the information at the bottom of your website. So those were the 3 perfect principles for 6-figure websites. And lastly, so we've gone over what not to do, we've gone over the perfect principles. So I just wanted to summarize this with a really quick 2-step action plan. So in summary, your website needs this 2-step action plan. So first, you need to provide information quickly and easily. So this is all about making sure the layout's easy to read, it's not overwhelming. It's just for someone who's busy, scattered, or overwhelmed, you need to look at your website and think, if that's the state they're in, am I giving the information to them quickly and easily? Does it look easy to read? Or is there too much information? Is it random and hard to read? Is there spacing? So the first step is provide information quickly and easily. And the second step is to collect their details so you can contact them later. And the way to do this is with a form and having an opt-in. So an ebook that talks about a solution to one of their problems. And to get that ebook, they need to, put their details in, their email, their name, and their phone number. And the reason you want them to do that is because you need to collect their details so you can contact them later. So thank you so much for watching. I highly recommend that you save this video and save it for referring to later, because even though we talked about six-figure website basics, these principles, they honestly, a lot of them are about any content that you put out. So on social media, or a post or a flyer or a banner, a lot of these what not to do and perfect principles apply across the board. And so I highly recommend you save this video and you action it to get more sales and more clients. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your day.